want to thank my introducer for being so composed. I'm amazed. A very good evening to members, guests, leaders of this great club. When I heard that there are teachers and students, I am very impressed with your outreach. So for all gathered here, I hope at the end of 45 minutes, I could have added value to your understanding of this topic. Let me start by preparing to share. So let me set up share screen. You. Can you see my screen now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can see you, we can hear you. And we can also see a screen.
Okay, let me put myself in the picture again. The advanced virtual background. There, right. Okay, dear friends, if you can see me somewhere in the middle of the slide, that's me. I will tell you how I started this way. But first and foremost, I want to thank Naveen, my friend, who was in Safil's team as training coordinator, your Vision K director, Safil himself, who spoke to me, explained to me what I'm invited to do. And I said, why not? Finally, also to our VIP guests. The VIP is, of course, the members. Members matter most. And the guests who are our pre-members, the students, the teachers out there. But of course, in the traditional sense, our club group director, Arjun. Yes, I had the pleasure of knowing him last term when I was PhD. Luckily, Vanita, district director, is not here. Otherwise, I would have been very overloaded. Let me stop sharing first. As you can see just now, I'm not very practiced in launching the share screen, putting myself in the picture. That's the first lesson I want to tell you. If you're not familiar, either you rehearsed until you are that proficient or not at all, because first impression counts. By doing that, I'm really taking a risk for letting you know, hey, you're talking about visual aids. You don't seem to be very comfortable using them, do you? And it's true. Just when I become very accomplished with my Logitech mouse with the spotlight, along comes Zoom. And the past few years, we are always speaking, and they are the technical support who does things for us. So by and by, I realized for everything you need to pick up, you need to practice. Dear friends, let me go back to the share screen and go through my slides with you. May I request the timer to help me in this way? Given 45 minutes, when 30 minutes is up, turn on the green light for me, so that I would like to reserve the last 15 minutes for questions and answers. Can you help me in do that? And when we have 5 minutes left, you turn on the amber light so that I know we have 5 minutes left. And then 1 minute before the end, you turn on the red light so that I will keep within time. Is that clear to a timer? If not,
yes. So it is 30, 40, and 44.
Correct. Correct. So with that, this is how I intend to do it very differently after talking to Sophia this afternoon. Here goes. This is my title, Visual Aids in Public Speaking, Hinder or Help. My background briefly. Let's do the play. Okay, play. Yes. About Jackson Chua, that's me. Chua is my Chinese surname. My family name is Chua. I'm Jackson. I'm 56 this year. This are some of the of my memories. When I started in the last century, 1939, when I joined, I was era governor in 2003, 2004. That man on the extreme left, yes, you can see his face on the Toastmasters website. He's Loyet Xiao, Distinguished Toastmaster, featured on the Pathway promos. This man here, you can see my clicker. This was the Singapore Southeast Asian Games. I was helping as a volunteer leader. We train volunteers to take part in sports volunteerism. This is my background. And of course, the other thing that I do other than my work, this I hope you find some people familiar on my finger is showing your district director, the beloved Vanita, and some of the Indian leaders that I had the pleasure of meeting when I was in Chennai in January 2020, 2 months before the lockdown started. So thank you. I have many Indian friends in Singapore, but by visiting India, Toastmasters friends from all the Indian districts, amazing, super achievers, and always warm and friendly. Thank you. Now, this is what I do other than my professional work as a marketing trained person. I was representing Singapore at the Asian Marketing Federation. I was also a speaker at the 2013 Chinese Marketing Conference. So these are some of the things I do. And when I'm given this topic, I thought I would like to share with you my thoughts. So over the next 45 minutes, much less now, okay, I want to start by asking you, may I ask you, and together with my main presentation, it will take 30 minutes. And the last 15 minutes, as I said just now, is may you ask me. Because if you don't ask me questions, I'm not very sure whether or not I am able to resolve any doubts that you may have. So this is the way it is. And let's get on the same page. So may I ask you questions? I can see on another screen, the gallery, we have about what, 60? Oh, sightedness. 60 people. So for the members here, the guests, may I find out that how many here are non-Toastmasters? Perhaps if you're non-Toastmasters, you just have to key in 1 into the chat room so that I can see, wow, how many ones are there. Then I'll tailor my presentation to suit the majority of us. Can you help me to do that? If you are not a Toastmasters, you know, have not joined this great club yet, just key in 1 into the chat room. Okay, so I can see that out of 60, many of us are already Toastmasters. Okay, and for those who are Toastmasters, how many are below 30? I will tell you the reason why. Below 30, not that I'm trying to pry, but the younger Toastmasters are much more familiar with all the, my title is visual, right? I will add audio visual. In fact, why not multimedia? These are all aids to our presentation. So the younger people, okay, you don't have to put in. I think I look at your pictures. I think all of you are looking so young. Okay, so there's no need. Getting on the same page is very important because all of us, and in every session I do, including in business, I finally realized that actually it's always about managing expectations. Managing expectations. If you come in expecting that I will show you how to do Canva, I will teach you how to use the different aspects, then probably that's not what you will get. If I come here wanting to tell you why this subject matter is so important to us, because I've seen many times, even the best of hotels, when the power surge caused the projector to be gone, and many seasoned speakers just cannot present. So I feel strongly about this subject, right? While I'm asking you questions, the final question I will ask, if you can, I welcome all of you to interrupt me anytime, okay? Turn in your mics, cut in, so that we have a lively session and you can hear the things that matter to you. If you're in agreement, can you just practice turning on your mic and say, oh yeah, we agree. Can I have some feedback?
Yeah, we agree.
Oh, yeah, we agree.
Thank you.
We
Thank
truly
you.
agree.
Okay, so we all co-own this session, right? I never claim to be an expert, but I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking. So therefore, I will go straight into the main theme. And along the way, I'll be asking questions so that we can get engaged. So that as I get to know you better, and we will see where our common concerns all over. In a nutshell, if you have no time, you need to leave. Some of these key sentences will explain what I want to tell you, okay? Hinder or help? Honestly, of course, it depends. Depending on what? The desired outcomes you want. For example, somebody shared with me a presentation is not the same as making a speech. If you recall my title, it is Visual Aids in Public Speaking. So my nexus is public speaking. Not all of us need to do public speaking, even though thematically, a teacher standing in front of her students is a public speaker, but not in the traditional sense as we understand it, right? She's there to educate, to convey information. So she needs to present more than just giving a public talk, which in our Toastmasters parlance means either you speak to inform, speak to inspire, right? So it covers around different categories. So depending on the outcome you want. Of course, this is a golden rule. Less is more. Less is more. But it's not always true. Sometimes more is more. Why? For example, a lecturer, through the medium of those aids, actually find it's a more organized way of transferring information. And to the students, they're there to absorb knowledge. There'll be a time for philosophy in future, but they'll be listening attentively, trying to capture a summary of all the things in the textbook that the teacher or the lecturer has already organized on PowerPoint. All right. The one in blue, as I was telling you just now, practice. All aids are meant to aid you. But if you're not familiar, like I was just now, that momentary silence would make another person lose confidence, morale, or even to cause your audience to have apprehension. Is a speaker adept at, familiar with the tools? So practice, if not ditch it, right? Stick to and work on and up your strength. All of you speakers have something unique in you. So finally, this in a nutshell will be about, it's about presence. It's about, the other word is connection, all right? If I can have a connection with you, I can make my presence felt. Not just my presence, the presence of my message, the energy I invest into my presentation to connect with you. So this is in a nutshell. So far, anybody has any questions? I want to ask your CGD because he looks very thoughtful and he always encourage me at the side. Arjun, can you say a few kind words or ask a question? I'm sure you must have a question, right? So far.
As of now, I'm pretty happy. I'm getting the entire hold of how to effectively use the visual aids. I'm actually seeing what is really happening with your slides as well, Jackson. So no questions from my side at all.
Thank you very much. Am I speaking too fast for you?
DTM Jackson, that's fine. We have one hand raised. Fatima Zahra, is that a question? I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I'm looking at my own screen, so I hope the TMOD or the IT manager, if people raise hands like what Safia does, prompt me so that they can unmute yourself and ask. Okay? Yeah. Can I have the question, please? Or
I don't. Probably that was by mistake, Jackson. That was not a question.
Thank you for letting us practice. So good of you. So it's allowed, okay? It's allowed. It's allowed to ask questions so that we can learn from each other. Preparing for this talk, I spoke to Safir, and I'm very impressed with his service track record over the years. I thought I have been around for so long. He is also of the same vintage. And he told me, as I asked him, can you give me some reference point? You know, this topic means different things to different people. You saw this yellow box, visual aids. He showed me a sample PDF. Now, on the left are my remarks. I highly recommend. When I spoke to him this afternoon, he says, are you going to just present for my slides? I said, no. I thought your slides were very well done, and I agree with many ideas. So I highly recommend, okay? And I've advised him that subsequently, please make it available, because where I'm impressed is because he really explained nuts and bolts, especially useful to the students. It will be a very linear, a very organized way of telling you how to use visual aids. For example, choice of fonts, no clutter. All these are important. And we all learn the alphabet before we learn to make sentences, before we learn to write essays. But given 45 minutes, I assumed a certain crowd that can understand what is the message I'm trying to bring to you. So please get his PDF. I'm sure he'll be willing to share. You see, I give you a sample of what I like about it. This is in his slides, right? There he tells about what are the good practices. They tell you, don't speak on your slides, just reading off, and don't clam or clunch of words, because it's not pleasing to eyes. So all these are very good samples from that. But for my case, I use back the same picture. My title is Help or Hinder, right? Visual aids in public speaking. And in the next 30 minutes, I also highly recommend, because the speaker is myself. Okay. If you agree with me, you don't have to clap, but just keep listening, keep being engaged with me, yeah, and raise any questions you may have. If you find that it's too abstract or it is too around the world in 80 days, not focused. But actually, I'm trying to tell you something from my heart. What I feel is the problem with the state of multimedia aids to public speaking. Why do I not use the approach of telling you the how-to? Because if you go to YouTube, you can practically find anything, not just in the Toastmasters website, but anything on earth. For example, there's in fact, I think $1 million industry on teaching people how to present like Steve Jobs, my all-time hero in life and in business. All right, Steve Jobs presentations. You can just go to YouTube and you will see all this, and you will learn something from that. So instead of how-to, actually, it's my choice to use this presentation to share with you the why-to. And I'm so inspired by session 1 speaker in this month of returning to basics. Our speaker last week taught us about storytelling, how a speech is born. So this is my story in the next part of my presentation. In my story, I'll tell you my experience with visual aids. Okay, and inside you will hear the following key ideas in color: the man, the message, the medium, the masses. In fact, when we're talking about public speaking, these are the stakeholders involved: the speaker, the message. One media, many mediums now: sight, sound, moving pictures, GIF, animation, so many. So it's medium. The masses I will refer to, because you can speak to an outdoor stadium. In fact, in Zoom, if you're in a webinar, you will probably speak to thousands, right? It's the masses. I want to encourage all of you, every time you speak, feel like as if you're not speaking to, you're speaking to a full room, the masses. That will give you the belief that your speech matters. Not just to the masses, also the man in that midst. Speaking to one, speaking to all. The eye contact, the focus, the belief that what I say matter. And even if it impacts only one person, I will not have been speaking in vain. You must have that sense of purpose in what you do. So the whole point later in my story, I'll tell you to do your stuff, which is actually an acronym. Later I'll tell you desired outcomes you have seen, right? Of course, YR stands for do you resonate? All right. And the stuff are all the nitty-gritty, which is best found in the earlier PDF I recommend. So from props to the state of art, at the end of the day, through the story, I'll tell you how I find balance versus the mixture of all these elements and choice, and later help hinder. So finally, I hope it's in a story. If you're ready, I will start telling you the story now. Okay. This man changed my life forever in the year 1980. I was in one of the best class in one of the best schools in Singapore. Who said that? I said that. I always believe that my parents gave me the best. And half my class today are doctors, some engineers, lawyers, but 4 of us took on the new subject in Singapore in 1980 called computer science. at the General Certificate of Education, GCE A levels. It was very new because if you remember, 75, 8088 processor was just launched, and the Apple I was born by 1980. The Apple II was born. My first computer is Apple IIe. The man behind it, the two Steves. Steve Jobs is one of them. Of course, later, you know, he was the bad boy. He was kicked out of his company. He invested in Pixar. He made a comeback. This picture was when he first launched the first iPhone at $499 US. This man changed my life because, like him, I dropped out from university in my 3rd year. I'm a software developer writing games on Apple, but back then Apple was very expensive. So I was in the Windows world. So I lived through those ages. Back in Singapore, a group of us started something called Steve.com. He is an amazing man because from him come quotes like make a dent in the university, make a dent in the universe. And it's famous for, oh, and one more thing, right? Many have learned from his techniques. So he's a master of using not just the aids. Not just the aids. This man is a genius, and I'll tell you why. So there's another man, right? The last 10 years before he stepped down. Yes, we can. Can anyone tell me who is this man? Can I ask Dr. Oh, Sophia. I love Sophia when she does a table topics master. Table topics mistress, Sonia or Sophia. Can you tell me who is this man?
Obama.
Obama. And somebody, TM Joseph, can you read to me the 3 big words there?
We can. Yes, we can.
Yes,
we
we
can.
can. You see? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Of course, there is vocal variety. What I'm trying to tell you is that the aids, even a change in the volume, is an aid to helping me convey the energy in this man's message. So can you see where I'm leading you by and by? Huh? And of course, we have this man. Anybody who would like to try? I believe Toastmasters are volunteers. Anybody who would like to tell me who this man is?
Martin Luther King Jr.
Who is that?
Martin Luther King Jr.
I know Martin Luther, but I'm asking your name. You are equally important to me.
Shaji.
Thank
Shaji.
you. Okay, people, he deserves a thumbs up for volunteering to speak. Right, thank you. I have a dream. My 4 little children one day will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Famous man. It is now an immortal speech quoted by many. But pray tell me, anyone, did he use a PowerPoint? Did he use? Did he show a YouTube video? Did he? He was the man, he was the prop. He had that conviction in his heart. He delivered it with gusto. He resonates on through the ages, 1969, before he was assassinated. So, so you, not your prop, not your aids, yeah, technology, right? You own this zone. Make your presence felt. Tell them with heart, with authenticity, with care, quote unquote. This is from a man who is very famous, but I did not mention his name. Can anyone guess this quote come from which celebrity? Anyone knows? Jenny, do you know? Thank you. Jenny is from Singapore. She is my friend from
It's
District
from
8.
Jackson Chua,
Yes.
distinguished Toastmaster.
Oh man, there are geniuses in this club. I thought that's the best kept secret. Oh, thank you, sir. For that, you will get a prize. And if you ask me what What prize?
Ask, what's the price for
Yes.
TMOD?
You get a kiss from me. You had my respect. Thank you, friends. So let me continue to stop sharing. And now you see the difference between having an 8 and no 8. Huh? You stop. The last time I was speaking online in this part of the world was by Naveen. I did a talk. I cannot remember. But I became a lightning rod for controversy because I ask questions rather than tell. Honestly, all of us come here to gain something, right? To learn. In my experience, the world is now full of technology, Google, Wikipedia. It's never for lack of getting information. Don't get me wrong. As leaders, we curate information into workshops to make it easier to impact our members, to do them service. In fact, one of my favorite authors is Simon Sinek. Can somebody tell me this man is famous for what? Simon Sinek is famous for?
Golden circle.
What is golden circle? What is your why?
Know your why.
Yes.
I say that, and that has impacted my business for the past 5 years, because many times we are interested in what. Hey, come on, why are you telling me what? What do you want? What? And then when in Toastmasters, we are focused with how to do this, 10 projects pathway, how to submit, how to be DTM, how. Don't get me wrong, all these are important. But in life, at the end of the day, if you speak to all the great people, they got where they are, not just because of effort, hard work, but because they are very clear about their why. All district leaders, and I was CGD, PQD for the last 2 years, the only thing that caused the district to succeed is if the members are motivated, self-driven. And how can they do that? Perhaps they like glory. Perhaps they got incentives from the CGD. That matters. We are all human. But more importantly, somehow the culture of the whole district in the clubs, all the way from members to the leaders, they understand why they are doing this, because they want to personal growth. They want to improve. It leads to a better life. So why is very important. When we talk about public speaking, what are we really into? I started out life as a school debater. I'm weak in English because we don't speak English at home. But thanks to my teachers, it changed my life in secondary school. When they introduced me to Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer, I started reading English fiction only at a late age. By secondary 3, I'm sure it's the same syllabus in India, I was exposed to William Shakespeare. Does that ring a bell, William Shakespeare? Okay, yeah, the but. It was examination, but I fall in love. I took part in the oratory contest, the funeral speech at Julius Caesar. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him, right? So things grow. There are students here, I hope this story resonates with you. Then I was in the inter-school debates, and we appear on national TV. Mine, I was on TV then. My dear friend Deepak, you know what it means then? Then on TV, and I had lots of hair. I was a teenager, I got lots of flowing black hair. Man. So that built on to university. I was in the Australasian debates. So at that kind of confidence and exposure, do you think I want to do icebreaker and join something called Toastmasters International? How wrong I was. When I joined 35 years old at the year 1999, going into the new millennium, there was a listed company. I was in the company that is going to get listed. We are going to be rich, you know, before the dot-com bubble burst. And then my boss invited his good friend to be the MC. And his good friend, he told me, ATM G. It's like a automated machine card, go card. I didn't know all these acronyms then, you know. So I thought, wow, Toastmasters. And truth be told, he was quite good. But we were young wrestlers, and we think we are better than everybody, right? So I said, Toastmasters. And then the dot-com bubble burst, and I was in between jobs. And my friend kept inviting me. Sounds familiar? So please, those who are not Toastmasters yet, come. Be among positive people. It may change your life. When I joined, 3 things happened. I realized presenting is speaking, because those days we are already used to. Ask any of your school-going children. They are so good in PowerPoint. That's basic, right? Word PowerPoint, they know. Some of the tertiaries are so good in using Canva. Huh? We learn from them. But when I joined Toastmasters, I realized 3 things. The world is very big. There are speakers, they are better than you anytime. Number 1. Number 2, if you are better than people, you should feel grateful. And therefore, when you share with them, when you impart, you learn something from their reaction. So you realize it's not always about getting better. It's always about seeing improvement in others. And then you realize new realizations of what you share. Right? The third thing is, of course, that I realized there's such a thing called director this, governor that. You know, it's quite fun, you know, and you can meet a lot of people. So that when it comes to presentation, then I realized there are club officers training, district officers training, region officers training. You see people present, all right? And now with Zoom, you can go all over the world. The best airline in the world, free, no visa, no customs, and you visit everyone. You can hear today, 24/7, all sessions all over the world. And then you notice things. You notice how people look at the camera. Some people always look at the side, you know, because their screen is there, the camera is there, but then you pick up kids. Friends, I go back to the topic. My story didn't end here. My story is ongoing. But help me in one area. So tell me if I speak too fast, tell me. Sometimes it works very fast. So the aids, if ever you use an aid, if you're a teacher, that's why I say sometimes more is more. Your job is to make sure. So I always stress just now, do your stuff. DO stands for desired outcome. And the desired outcome, if your desired outcome is for the students to benefit from your teaching, physics, chemistry, this is not philosophy. You're going to share the formula. So perhaps big fonts with links, perhaps you'll do the job, right? But many a times you realize there's this thing called infographics. Wikipedia, infographics. Then you can see how information can be presented in a visually appealing manner. So how you designed your, or how you use your aids matter a lot. Oh, it's green now, so I think I'll probably use a half an hour. But let me quickly end my story. On this journey now, I'm not using Canva per se because I find it's something like PowerPoint. I want to use the right people to do the right job. So what I'm trying to tell you is that it's the ideas behind the man, it is the passion behind your message, it is the value of what you are trying to convey. Keep that center place. You be the main event. You be not so much a main star, but your presence. You must take ownership of why you are invited to speak or why it's a turn to do your project. Speak. Of course, it involves using props as a project objective, fine. If not, those things assist you. I remember one occasion 5 years ago when I was presenting overseas. They are more interested in my video, where you find this. And suddenly I feel that my video is the boss, is a star. I'm just the IT person who displayed that particular video. So I want all of you public speakers in this journey, but it depends really on the situation you're in. If you're a teacher, for Christ's sake, give the best to your students. But in public speaking in general, as I shared with you, these three gentlemen, Steve Jobs, Martin Luther King, Obama. Many a times in life, you realize there'll be managers who will get a job done, but there'll be leaders who will be with people through thick and thin, where the only duty of the leader, all things given equal, is to give your members a sense of hope, a sense of faith that this goal that we set is doable. When that happens, it's not so much the aids, but it is how you connect with your members. So do your stuff. Why are? Do they resonate with you? Do they make you feel as if they come alive? Another favorite quote of mine is this: many times we will forget what we are told. People forget, and there are studies to show recency, but people never forget the way you make them feel when they hear what you said. Am I right? So use the aids, leave an impression, but more importantly, through your eyes, your facial expressions, your tone. It's as if even online, they feel that you're talking to them. It's not what you say, it's the moment when you say it triggers in them, that feeling will stay with them. They remember, they feel good, they feel understood when they hear you say this one thing. That stays with them longer than the words, the names, they probably forget over time. So friends, whether it's an aid, whether it's a prop, do whatever it takes to amplify, to deepen, not so much broaden, but deepen, leave an impact so that you will not have conveyed your message in vain. With that, I want to use, I think it's green light still, but I want to use this time for Q&A. Essentially, I hope through the Q&A, I further elaborate on some of the points I raised. Yeah, so it's open to the floor. I will see it as my personal failure if none of you find me interesting enough to ask me any questions. Any questions? There's a young man from Malaysia, Devon Lee. He came here to support me. So I don't know what he supported my presentation. Can you ask me a question?
Okay, okay, hold on, let me turn on my camera for a bit. Okay, yeah, first of all, I'd like to say that thank you so much for sharing what you know on the topic presentation, seeing how now things are all mostly online. Oh, wait, now you're on. Okay, Hold on. Not really in this one yet. Okay, give me a moment. Can see me, right?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, my question to you is that now with the very dominating culture of online presentation, what would you advise people on finding a balance between offline stage skills and online presentation? Because as we all know, public speaking and online presentation are two very different things now.
I totally disagree with you. So let me explain and answer you.
All right.
Obvious, of course, the medium, the platform, but don't you see at the end of the day, it's about a person, a message. If you want to keep on focusing on the differences and even learn, it takes time. Why we are having this problem with membership retention? We say, oh, online will come back. Can you see at the end of the day, the value proposition? Don't get me wrong. Many times we ask a question, we're trying to understand, but many times we're also trying to get an affirmation of our point of view. And that's why Q&A, although 15 minutes, sometimes pass very fast because everybody makes a point when they ask a question. Not you, I'm referring. But in this case, why do I come out force powerfully? Because I say is, of course, I know there are differences, right? I've seen my friends who says, no, it's not. Because I don't get to see an audience, I can't feel on the energy. Well, that is true. Is that your excuse? We've been watching television, right? Newscasters for the longest time, even before internet came about. It is a medium. In the old system, there is communication on television, right? Advanced manual. It has always been there. Before Zoom, there is Polycom, there is video conferencing software. Can we not be fixated on a different technology, a medium? Because sometimes you read a book, then realize there's a blackboard, then there's a whiteboard. Before there are books, do you know the caveman generation? They write on the sand, on the cave. It's like a display board to teach people. So what is consistent throughout? You can tell me, you see all the medium are different. Consistent throughout is the desire of one generation of a senior, a mentor trying to teach a student, a mentee. So I hope you understand my point. There are many skills you can pick up, but that's not the purpose of why I conduct talks. I want people to ask themselves questions, reflect, go back to the basics. I like this series, Back to Basics. Because once you understand your why, you will find every motivation to uncover, to unlock, and to discover. So I will answer you more fully on a private session. I want it for the members. Members, any members in this club, EKM, that would like to ask about, or is this too far flung out that you find, what's he talking all the half an hour, what he's been saying?
DTM Jackson, I think yes. Shaji has a question. While Shaji asks, I request all the members of the August House today to turn on their video so that I can take a quick snap. Meanwhile, Shaji, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you, DTM Jackson, for that lovely presentation. I loved it. You made a point very clear that it is you who is going to be in focus, not the visual aids. After we've transferred ourselves into the online meeting Zoom platform, do you think we have limited our visual aids only to the PowerPoint? If had it been an offline meeting, we would have had many visual aids we could use, but the Zoom platform has limited us to PowerPoint presentation, I believe.
I fully agree. I'm very glad you bring this up. It's a very good question, because one thing is for sure, you can hear, you can see, you can't smell, right? Sometimes we have good curries. So nothing can replace the physical in-person experience. So yes, forever it will not be the same. Having said that, today we can have a conversation, although it's online, without me flying to India. So there are still positives from new technology breakthroughs. Am I right? Why I take strong objection, because I've been hearing this, especially Singaporeans like to complain a lot. This is ongoing. I always ask them, I understand you, but what are you going to do about it now? Are we going to wait out this COVID? Are we going to keep on sighing, right? It is not ideal. So my challenge to all the members and to my clients has always been, so in the meantime, what are we going to do about it? You will always have to keep up with the times, right? How many here, people of my generation, and we are the youngest here, some of them are even, it's not our fault, it's just that they are younger than us, but we are young, 3 years ago, I haven't heard of this thing called Zoom. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom out. Anybody here have just mastered how to come online in the last maybe 12, 18 months? If you're in agreement, please key in 1 in the chat. Man, that's me, man, 1, right? Okay, thank you. You're being there, thank you. My whole point is this. You know, I did not serve in the trio before that. But when Pathway was launched about 3-4 years back, the Pathway ambassador, remember those days? Online learning, man, 10% of my members disappeared. Online, email, a password. But because of COVID now, everybody continue with enjoying Toastmasters, overcome a certain mental block in using the computer. Is that your experience in Kerala as well? I see many people of our generation all, hey, still online. Some, maybe the children help them set up. But give them a round of applause. And I mean real round of applause for keeping up, for being online. People, we did not just let the youngsters have their say in doing TikTok and social media. We have overcome the barrier for now. Let's give ourselves a round of applause, okay? Then next, now that we are on the platform, then we look how to improve. I learned from observing Arjun. Now I got 2 screens. I look at him, his background, uncluttered, maroon corporate color. His smile is always there. In the proportion of the rectangle, he's not too small, he's not too big. Can you see if you are willing to learn, you can observe and pick up. Then next time I learn how to look at my camera. Some people say put at the red scotch tape, you will focus on there. And it looks like you're talking to the person, right? So things you can pick up. Any other questions? Sophia, I pluck up courage to ask you because how this happened is because you convinced me to take up this. And I convinced myself that I think you are giving me a wonderful opportunity. And now I'm not so sure. I don't think I really do a good job because the start was bad and I felt a bit demoralized. Ask me a question. Any questions so that at least I know that you do not regret.
I wanted others to ask their questions.
Can you help me to invite others to ask a question?
Yeah.
I don't know most of the people here.
We have Senior Toastmasters, Nainan, Hari Pillai. We have...
I want to thank this person. When I came in at shop just now at 7 o'clock, one man was very nice telling me about his brother working in Changi Hospital. Deepak Pulos. I love his persona. So, am I making sense to you for the last half an hour? Is there any question which you would like to ask me?
Jackson, I am the general evaluator. So, but
Okay.
while on this, I'm quite unhappy that you have not offered to kiss me. You have offered the kisses to Sismas. So whatever feedback I will have, I will share in my evaluation. Will that suffice?
No. Totally suffice. This is a man to do roasting in future in your event. He is full of humor. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Any questions?
Jackson, let me ask this question. So it's a generic question. Let's say we have an opportunity to speak in front of people. Like for example, today you had around 45 minutes. Is there any thumb rule that we have to follow in to prepare for slides or any visual aid for that period of time? So for example, out of 45 minutes, use slides for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Is there any thumb rule like that?
There is. Every time, everything cut down by 20%, 80-20 rules applies. Meaning to say, unforeseen, less is always more. Then you have a grace period, a leeway, either to express yourself more. You don't prepare right up to the max. It's always, whatever you do, 80%, you minus 20% is always possible. Productivity studies also, anytime you do anything, you can straight away cut out some fat, 20%. In fact, it's your question that worries me. You see, many times, even myself, I'm aware, and that's why I'm making this special pitch to you guys. It's almost by default now that if you are not using PowerPoint, I don't think you're sophisticated. I think you are in the last century. I don't think you're relevant. It's almost become a must. I remember some years back, PRA tell me in one of the conferences, really a power surge and then it's blown and they don't know how to present. Now, of course, it happens rarely, right? But it is so the whole thing is like, we need to live relevant, have the skill sets. The skills complement you, but the skills are important. Now everybody knows how to use Excel and Word. So your question in direct answer is always prepare for a 20% buffer. And then you can present. I like, it's mentioned in your slides, actually, Safia, you know. You see, there are two things to it. Does a slide convey information, or is it meant for other purpose beyond conveying information? Sometimes it adds to the ambience, it lends impact. If you see Steve Jobs' slides, big words, economy, big words, okay, value, big words, creativity. The whole idea was there, and then he started to talk to you. It also helps that you ensure members turn up at your meeting. I don't know about you, in Singapore we have this thing. President, we don't go club officers training. It's okay, just pass me the PDF or the PPT. It is a substitute now for not attending the main event, because after all, everything is there. Do you have this experience in India? Do you have this?
Arjun is smiling. So there is.
Okay, I am the one who is not sensitive. I should not ask such questions that it's a rhetoric question. I don't answer. More importantly, is with us. I see animation, GIF. There's this doodle thing, you know? Anything that's interesting, but sometimes it does distract from the main message. Today, I'm not the best advocate of this message because I speak too fast. I think people have problem following me. It's something which I have to practice at home more. But thank you for the opportunity. It's read now, and I will provide more information for it to be shared with you. But I'm speaking from my heart, and if it's not technical enough, I know there are many engineers and software developers in India, but this presentation is definitely not handling the techniques, nuts and bolts. It is more of asking you to examine your why, whatever you do in public speaking, make your message resonate with the audience. So let me conclude. Help or hinder depends on the man, the message, the medium, the desired outcomes you want in the context that you are. If you're a lecturer, you must prepare properly for your students to receive the information. But if you are a community leader, if you are a mayor of a town, if you are trying to inspire your staff not to be demoralized in the lockdown, I think you need to show more than PowerPoint slides. If you cannot rouse their spirit and give them confidence, I think they will be very worried, right? So all in all, I thank you all once again for being here, for sharing with me your feedback and your questions. And I look forward to visiting you all someday in person. And thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Let's give a great round of applause to DTM Jackson Tour. May I call upon our area director to present a vote of thanks?
Yes. Dear Toastmasters, this evening was a great evening with distinguished Toastmaster Jackson Chua, because it was just like a family meet where we got an opportunity to chat, sit and talk, as well as laugh a lot. But here I am to propose the vote of thanks in a very simple way. A grateful heart is a magnet for miracles. Wow. Gratitude is not only the greatest virtue, but the parent of all virtues. Honorable Chief Guest, distinguished Toastmaster Jackson Chua, district leaders, division leaders, area leaders, club leaders, members of all clubs, students of Delhi Public School, Jeddah, and all our dear guests. Today, we had the opportunity to hear the innovative thoughts and ideas on the effective use of audio-visual aids to enhance and enrich our public speaking skills. This is definitely going to hone our skills of presentation styles. But Toastmaster Jackson has already mentioned about how we have to go with it. If we are misusing it, that will also be dangerous. If we are using it, it will be very effective. On behalf of Division K, I express a heartful of gratitude to our chief guest, distinguished Toastmaster Jackson Chua, who spent his busiest time with us sharing his views on audiovisual aids. We are immensely grateful to you. And also, I take this opportunity to thank distinguished Toastmaster Arjun Sundaraj, our club growth director, all area division leaders, area leaders, all other club officers, club members. Truly, the event was a special one, and I'm pretty sure that each one of us benefited a lot from it. Let's navigate our sail ahead to become better communicators, better presenters, better leaders, and better speakers.